Hello, hello, hello. Antphrodite here, your pop culture psychic, back to you again with another reading. So, I'm sure you've all seen it by now. Everyone was saying the rapture was coming today, and it looks like nothing really happened. So, people are asking me, what's going on with that? Why do people keep saying the rapture is coming? Is the rapture actually coming? What is the rapture? What's going on? So, I don't know what I'm going to get here, but remember these readings all at different tempers only, and let's get started. If you guys like these, please hit that join button down below. Join the YouTube members. You get access to a bunch of exclusive content. You can win pick a card story times, or they're pick a card story times. You can win a reading from me. Tons of celebrity readings, stuff on angels, demons, heaven, hell. All right, let's just go into this. I don't know what we're gonna get here. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so the rapture. What is it? Is it coming? Clarification. No. Okay. Well, no. No. So the Ten of Cups is reversed. So the Ten of Cups is like community reversed. So what we're seeing is actually people craving community. The issue that we're having right now with the Ten of Cups reverse is that people aren't feeling connected to one another. So the idea of like the rapture or any of these big, like the meteors that are coming, because I think they're all the same, like the meteors, the raptures, the aliens, everything like that. I think people are feeling a lack of community with that Ten of Cups reversed, and they're seeking community wherever they'll get it. And they're willing to give the benefit of the doubt to anything that goes viral that brings people together. The Five of Cups is disappointment, right? So people are extremely disappointed in the world, extremely disappointed in the way things are going, and they're very emotional. The Five of Cups is like, I'm really sad, I'm disappointed, like I want to connect people, but I can't figure out how to connect. So I think what we're seeing is people thriving for community, people craving community, people wanting so badly to connect to someone else that they're attaching themselves to certain things. The Queen of Wands being reversed is interesting too, because the Queen of Wands is like misguided aggressions. And then the Temperance card is impatience and imbalance. I don't even think a large amount of people that are like focused on the rapture are really, it's not really like centered in religion. When you look at the Temperance card reverse, it's really just centered in, restlessness, in that abundance of energy that pours out. Like there's this, I think there's a misconception here that like it's just religion, and religion is the only focus. When I look at cards like that, it tells me that these people have this energy built up and they just need a tool to put it into. It's like if you lived a sedentary lifestyle and you needed to be active. That's the kind of vibe. It's like people want to be, I guess the word is galvanized towards something, and there's this desire. And the Queen of Wands is also about anger. People are very angry at the system. They're very angry at the situations that are happening in front of them. They're, irate, especially with what's going on in our world. So they're looking for any sort of like justice or retribution. Basically, you look at that as like people being like, well, if I can't, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, well, if I'm not going to be happy, then no one should be happy, right? Like we'll all go down together. It's definitely a intense energy. Yeah. The Three of Cups is also, see, this is what I mean. It all boils down to our, society. The Three of Cups to me is comparison to other people, but the Nine of Swords is overthinking, and the Knight of Cups is growth. This is the lie that people are told, that like when you're older, you'll be able to afford everything, like you'll be able to get a house, you'll be able to do all this. People are really frustrated. Like look at that Three of Cups. That's like our class distribution, especially economically, is all fucked up. And so it's like everyone is just in the trenches together, right? Like nobody can really get out of it. So it's like crabs in a bucket where everyone's just pulling each other down. So my hope is that the people that were really passionate about things like the rapture and things of that nature, that they're able to maybe realize that there's another way to kind of build each other up, and that's by helping each other, not sort of wanting retribution or destruction, and wanting to build each other up. Because I don't think that most people are like The energy here is like, it's basically just like people are tired. You know, the Knight of Swords is upright. The Knight of Swords is like growth. You look at that as like wanting to help people, right? Like a pure intention energy. But the Nine of Cups being upright is like a manifestation, and the Queen of Swords is like independence. People are feeling isolated, but you look at that and that's also like, when I help people, I get spit in my face. I feel like when I help people, no one does anything for me. So fuck you. Like there's spite work here. There's frustration. There's resentment that is just building in most people. And the Knight of Swords is, like I said before, like someone, a knight in shining armor, someone who wants to help. So I do think that at their core, most people really do want to help each other. But what we're lacking as a society is a way to unite us for a good, right? We don't have something that is rewarded. Like the problem we're having is our society does not reward good behavior. Our society punishes, it doesn't reward. Whether or not someone deserves a punishment, all we ever see is punishment. We don't really see reward. So I think hopefully in the next coming years, we start to see more of incentives for people to help each other. I don't know, maybe there'll be tax breaks for people who help each other. I don't know, but there needs to be something. And I do think this is going to be a conversation we're going to start to have. It's going to take a while though. Sorry, it is. This feels very far out, but it is a conversation that I think you're going to start to see in the political sphere in the next couple of years. Cause it's just like, it just seems like people are like, how do we get people to do something good? We have to reward them somehow. I think humans lead by example too. And if they see someone who's like a good-natured human being doing good things, being rewarded, they will also mimic that. So the Seven of Wands is upright. The Five of Pentacles is reversed, and the Two of Pentacles. This is also about people like feeling like I lose my jobs. I lost my job. You know what I mean? Like it's like this feeling of like, how can I prove myself when I lose my job and no one takes me serious when I say I have this experience, or I'm getting replaced by AI, things of that nature. Especially with the Two of Pentacles reversed. Like the Two of Pentacles reversed is like, I feel like I work too much and don't get paid enough, right? Which is pretty much everyone, right? So it's like, it's that feeling of like, it's unfair. And so when people feel like it's unfair, they're looking at other people to find out what they feel like they have over them. When you have an abundance, you're not looking at, what other people have that you don't. And I think that's really what's missing. I also think people aren't able to self-sustain. It's really expensive to have a farm. It's really hard to grow your own shit and grow your own crops. I mean, people can't afford a place to live. How are you going to have a farm when you're literally sitting in an apartment, right? A one-bedroom apartment with like 3 kids, right? Like, so it's like the problem is like I'm seeing people wanting to be more self-sufficient, but again, they're poor, right? Or they're struggling financially and they're not able to have a job or anything like that. And so how can they sustain themselves? The Page of Pentacles is like, it boils down to not having enough money. The Six of Wands is like, I'm swallowing my pride. I want to do things myself, but I can't. The Strength card is reversed. I'm vulnerable. I'm in a vulnerable position. Perhaps there's going to be a conversation politically eventually of ways to incentivize or help people to grow their own things, grow their own crops, make their own stuff. I'm thinking, we know the farmers markets are getting more and more popular. I'm wondering if there'll be some way to make farmers markets cheaper or more accessible, or maybe tax cuts or things of that nature to kind of benefit the farmers markets and things of that nature. Because it just seems like all this energy, like, cater is being funneled into, the wrong things. And I think people are going to start to eventually realize like we need to kind of heal as a society and heal our community. The Queen of Pentacles is upright, the Sun is reversed, the Hermit's reversed, which is really interesting too, because the Sun is about being unhappy with what I do for a living, right? Like that's like, I work because I have to, not because I enjoy it, which, granted is most people. But the Hermit being reversed says I'd actually do more and provide more and be happier if I was connecting to people. So what that means is, a lot of the people who are unhappy or maybe miserable or sad or whatever, it's because they're forced to do a job they don't want to do, which makes sense, right? But I think people don't realize how hard people would work if they enjoyed their job or their career. If there was somebody, or if there was a way to have jobs that impact people directly and that deal with humans directly, I think people would actually work harder because they would be happy. And I also think this is something that's a food for thought. Human interaction makes people happier. Sometimes the reason why, you're frustrated is because you haven't interacted with enough people yet, right? You've been isolated. Think of it like when you haven't been in the sun for a while and you need the vitamin D to kind of help you with your, feeling sad or whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, my body was just craving vitamin D. Your body's craving social interaction. And I think this is another thing that is being warned here in this reading is like people are not getting enough social interaction. Get off the phone, right? But like in general, there's this feeling of you need to connect to people. And in your job, you need to connect to the people around you, whether it be your coworkers or whether it be the people you interact with. And granted, I know a lot of people are like, well, I work in retail and people are awful. I get it. But there needs to be some level of balance with like dealing with, people. Because like we as a society, we're social creatures. And it's hardcore being pushed here in this reading that we need to be more social. Like in our everyday. If you're sitting in a cubicle texting people all day, or emailing, it's just not healthy and you're going to feel more depressed. And it's not your job, it's your lack of connection. See, the Four Cups, you're apathetic and bored. And I think people don't realize that they've become apathetic and numb. The Knight of Wands being reversed and the world, right, an idle's mind is a devil's playground. That's basically what that is. It's like, when, you're walking on eggshells and you're afraid to do anything, eventually you just explode. So, and the world is also about like the global scale, right? So this is something that creeps into every single person. It's not just like Americans. Interesting with the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles is like comfort, and the Two of Wands and the King of Pentacles. People really want healthy competition. I think there might be conversations and ways in which they can promote healthy competition. Like if there was like a way to like promote local farmers markets by having two people be in a contest of whose like tomatoes are better or their food is better. I'm wondering if we're going to start to have more conversations with that as a society. And, I have seen in my previous readings that there's might be a new app that allows people to connect like in geographic location, meaning like you open the app, you see alerts for local businesses or local stuff or local meetups, whatever in your direct area, location based, like your streets surrounding you and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that might translate to shit like this, where it's like, there will be a competition and it'll promote local businesses. I'm just seeing as a society, I'm seeing us eventually get smarter to where we're just going to ignore the craziness that's happening in the government and politics, and we're just going to focus on community. I think it's going to take like 10 years, but I think we are going to get to that position. I think the next 2 years are going to be super pivotal for that as well with the Two of Wands. Yeah. The Wheel of Fortune, the Four of Swords being reversed, and the Hangman. You're going to start to see a lot of people, like, when people like make like bootleg stuff or like, whatever homegrown stuff, or they make their own version of the iPhone and they make their own version of this, you're going to start to see more and more shit like that because people are tired, and they can't afford things and they don't want to deal with, conglomerates or corporates or anything like that, or the government. So you're going to start to see more things fall off the truck, so to speak, like I remember growing up in the 90s, there was like, the guy would get the stuff that they would have like the bootleg DVDs and the bootleg VHS especially, and things of that nature. You're going to start to see more shit like that. Like people are going to get more, people are going to get smarter, and more clever. There's going to be like an underground system eventually. So I don't know. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. The Wheel of Fortune is about being able to make money off of small little things like that, by the way. So that's why I see that. So, and the Four of Swords and the Hangman is about people wanting to kind of like cut it off, like the government and the justice system. But no one's going to snitch as much as they think they will. So I kind of see that. I see more community building. So hopefully this is like a positive message. I know a lot of people were kind of stressed and upset, but hopefully this kind of gave you a little bit of hope for the future, because we are in a crazy timeline. But I do think give us a couple years. We're going to get there. So if you like that, hit the join button down below. Join the 2 members. Until next time, good luck. Hopefully that didn't make y'all too mad. Please don't come for me. Just trying to be help.